Gentlemen, welcome back to the BDRP Late Show. I'm your host, D. Dawson. Tonight, I got a very special guest coming on. This gentleman's a field researcher. All of you know that I started out in the field and have a special affinity for the boots on the ground guys. And this cat, he's cut from a different cloth. I mean, you're going to see some of his footage tonight. We also have an interview that was recorded previously coming out tomorrow, where we'll take a even closer look during the breakdown. But today we're going to talk to the man himself, Mr. Jake from Forest Spirits and Foraging. Jake the Snake, what's going on,
Hey,
baby?
how's it going?
It's going whether we want it to or not.
Yeah,
It's good to see you, man.
yeah, great to see you.
Glad to have you on here finally. And just if you want to start, just tell the folks like what got you into cryptids, what got you out there into the woods.
Uh, it was well, I started out foraging, and I grew up in the southeastern part of Wisconsin, so it's a different world. Had moved up to the more northeastern part, and didn't know what to do, so I started kind of teaching myself mycology and ethnobotany, and this is years ago, and all of that, and then started kind of hearing it was a divine guidance, I guess, from Jesus to start getting into this cryptid realm. And I didn't really know too much about it, and then I started finding structures and finding footprints, and then that led to seeing these beings, which I had seen spirits my whole life. But yeah, the last 2 years really has been with these Sasquatch slash cryptid beings, and it continues to open up, and I continue to uncover more and more, and but that's with divine guidance and the work of the people who've done it before.
Right. And you're out there, you're getting the goods. Like you said, you've had these spiritual encounters your whole life, and it's just like me. And that's when I really started looking at it in a different type of way. You know,
For sure.
I've seen physical beings
Yeah.
out there, and you've got physical beings in your work,
Yeah.
but there's also that spiritual element to it.
Almost all of
And
it. Yeah. For me. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think that is? Like, where do you think the divide or the connection is with it?
I personally believe, as of right now, and it's obviously it's all very fluid. Things change, but as the way I understand it right now, I personally believe that they are uh, beings that fluctuate between dimensions, and specifically the second to fourth dimensions. So, like, I've seen the same being, and this, like, I mean, you can't say this to too many people, but I've seen the same being, like, kind of superimpose itself on a two-dimensional, like, say, a table. Um, and then you can see it in the third dimension, physical, which is what humans see the world through. Most humans, and then fourth dimension, which is vibrating a little higher and more of the spiritual, etheric realm. But I believe that's as high as these things can go, and so yeah, I believe they can vacillate between these realms at will. Uh, as of right now, that is my current understanding of what they're doing and what's going on here. And they can manifest in physical form and rip a cedar tree in half. Like, I mean, I know out west they get big. I don't know what you guys have down there, but like cedar trees they're wide, round, and like
Right.
they can grab these things and just rip them in half, and you can see the twist in it. And yeah, it's the strength is incredible, and then to go into this, like, for lack of a better term, spiritual form is it's really unique. It's like a unicorn, you know. It's
Well, that's I guess it's one way to describe it, and it's fascinating that you say the second and to the fourth dimension specifically. Um, the and this is just the esoteric Gnostic way of looking at it, but from the first to the fourth dimensions are us and low vibrating frequency beings,
yeah,
and from the fourth and above are the higher vibrating frequency beings that we would call angels. So if
yeah,
that's the case, then we're then I mean they ain't the good guys. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
That's yeah,
people say Nephilim a whole lot. Now I don't wholeheartedly agree with that. I believe some of them can be, maybe. I believe some of them are physical creatures that the Bible refers to as the beasts of the earth. When we look at the beasts of the earth in times of mourning, I think it was in Deuteronomy. It talked about how the people put sackcloth on themselves and the beasts put sackcloth on. Like, how's a cow going to put, or an ox going to put sackcloth on itself and enter into a time of mourning for a human being? Then it
right,
denotes the punishments for both beast and the person, the man and the woman, if they have this abominable congress with one another. There's a specific punishment for the man or the woman, and there's a punishment for the beast. I think God's
yeah,
pretty smart. I think God's a little bit too smart to be punishing dumb beasts for an act that they don't even consciously understand that they're engaging in.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So that's always kind of fascinating me. But
yeah.
uh, I mean,
It, it shows a different level of intelligence as well.
right, and it shows that that beast isn't necessarily a beast of burden. It's something different.
Yeah, it's something
The
completely.
serpent was a beast in the garden. He's referred
Yeah,
to as the most subtle of all the beasts of the earth. So it's and you got some ooky spooky stuff out there. We're gonna take a look at it here momentarily, but I got to talk to you last night. Like I said, you make me nervous sometimes, man.
yeah.
You get closer than I've ever seen.
I get a little rambunctious, and I get a little like, I feel again. I feel Jesus in me. And when I was 5, I grew up and I'm not trying to make these projections and assumptions, but I grew up in a lot of crazy stuff, and then I felt Jesus merge into my body when I was 5, and I can't. There's no words that I can put um out there for somebody to explain that and properly understand that. But that's what gives me the strength to go out there and do that. So, and you're right, and I need people like you who really understand and like to kind of rein me in at times, because because I'll go out there and I get a little, I feel that, and so I invoke that, and I don't know, I feel Jesus within me, and then yeah, I get a little out of pocket sometimes, I get a little.
Well, you got to listen. That's the Holy Spirit, and you got to listen to the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit's saying no, it don't get much smarter than him. He's the helper,
No, it doesn't at all. No, no, that's it.
and you just keep on rolling up on him, just walking up to him like you're one of the gang. And you're laughing about it. See, like, that's crazy, bro. And folks, like, you're about to see what I'm talking about. Like, I get anxiety in there. I find myself digging my fingernails into my chair over here, watching this guy just roll up on him, just walk up to him, and they're moving around in the bush like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Um, the one video we were talking about, it looked like something was in a cloak behind you.
Oh,
You knew
sure.
exactly what I was talking about. So
Oh, yeah. They do it all the time. But then I know I got you. Like, again, my like that feeling that he when he came into me, um, it hit me, and I came from a household that was very chaotic, and police there, a lot of violence and whatever, police there constantly and all. But like, it was this energy I could call on, and it was there, and it was like this protective. And then I grew up and I did a lot of really good things, and I also did things that were very bad. But through it all, there's this connecting with Jesus. It's like this shield, and yeah, I may push it, but I know that He's there, and it's like I feel as though it's like I can turn my back to them because I already know what they're doing, and because I get this information. But also, it's like, you want to test me, you're going to be testing him. So like, try it. And you're right. I push it. I push it. I pushed it a little far.
yeah, just I mean, just what you said, like You shall not tempt the Lord thy God. You know what I mean? Like, so we can't go on the, we can't go out there under the auspices of, oh, well, you better not mess with me. You be messing with the Lord. Like, because I mean, one of these
Yeah,
days,
no,
I can tell you, little brother,
yeah,
and I've told you before, like, I go out there and there'd be times I drive to an area
hmm
and I put it back in reverse and drive straight back out of there. And I wouldn't feel bad about it.
yeah.
So I don't want to see nothing happen to you, is all.
Oh, I know. They'll like snap deer necks and they'll throw it in my parking spot. They've ripped deer legs off.
Uh,
Yeah,
what?
they'll rip off deer legs at the they rip. So when they mutilate deer, they snap the neck and then they rip the legs off. So they rip it off at like where the knee bone would be, but it's like halfway up on a deer. And yeah, they'll do stuff like that, and then they'll point. They'll use the hoof part to like point to certain things, and they use it as messages. And then I go, this is scary, but f that. Let's go in and see what's going on here. And yeah, so I got pictures of that too, actually, and videos.
And if you haven't seen his channel yet, folks, go check it out. It's Forest Spirits and Foraging, and you still have the one up, and it's one of the craziest videos I've ever seen. And I'm gonna show you some things and see if we can get some traction behind it, and see you get some growth,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
because it's absolutely, because it's madness. Um, One came to your house and was messing with one of your
Oh,
security cameras.
that was my friend. So yeah, so that was
Your friend.
yeah. So what all happened there? So yeah, that video's still up, and so a close friend of mine. So that was the night that they came to my house as well, and so I work with him, and he's just a really close friend. Um, but that was a night I uncovered and saw things I wasn't supposed to see, and there's a video I posted of like the Anunnaki. There's like an Anunnaki alien thing, and a lot of people won't get it and they won't see it. And I know listen, our cameras are not designed to record this stuff. The fact that this is even being recorded is insanity. And there's this tall being, and he looks like the Anunnaki from the Mesopotamian. I don't know what else to call it. These are just words. And he's driving this white object through this alien looking being's ear, who's just sitting there on a stump. Well, I recorded that and I knew I could feel the eeriness. And then I went back, and this is all on the YouTube page, because I got a YouTube and a TikTok. This is all on the YouTube. But so I recorded as I'm driving back out there, and I was like, this is the small place. It's a very weird place. I didn't know till after. This is like, it was a Native American place. There's all kinds of strange stuff going on over here, and I intentionally will not record if I know it's a Native American place. Like, I will respect and honor that. But there's some dark stuff out there, and there's another reason why, and I can't say, but there's another reason why there are some dark stuff in that area. And
Why
like
can't you say tell on him? I'll just drop a dime on him and be all right.
I'll just say this because I'm trying to keep it so
No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to give too much. I'm just giving you a hard time.
there's a home there where there's, I guess you could say, an old folks home slash kind of hospital that's on this hill, and
Ah, okay.
they're taking these spirits, and inside this place these people have been seeing weird entities and different things for years, and yeah, there's a lot of dark spirits out there. So I believe there's basically what you would call a portal to hell in this forest here. And so I didn't know any of this, and I just go up in there, and then so that night when you're talking about the security camera, I start getting up, ascending up the hill, and like rocks are getting thrown in immediately, and I keep going, and then I get to a certain point to where the parking lot can't see, and you're up in their area, and they're coming out from behind trees, like making themselves known, and the energy shifted, and I'm like, this is not good, because when they try to hide all the time. When they're looking you in the eyes and making themselves known, it's like, we're pissed. Like it's not a good situation. And so then they start kind of surrounding me. That's when all of a sudden I look and I see a projection of Jesus on the cross. I got a 5-minute video. I'll send it to you personally. I'm not going to post it publicly. I have like 15 seconds of it posted, but you can hear my camera die. So my camera's on a tripod. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to zoom in and get this man on the cross. Because when I'm there, it looked like an actual man. And it's just, my camera starts beeping. Battery's dead. There's so much. They're coming out and they're getting so close. There's energy rushing at me. I can't like look down to change a battery and do all that. Like my attention has to be around me. And so I get out of all that. I mean, it was horrifying, and I don't get scared. And that was terrifying. I get to the parking lot, record another hour. So 2 half-hour videos. And then I went home, and that's when they started like coming through my window. And one of my really good friends had all that stuff happening at his place, which he lives 20 miles from me, and had caught all that on his security cameras that exact same night. So I go to work and he starts telling me about it, and I'm like, dude, yeah, okay, this is what happened last night. So yeah, just to give some more background on what we're talking about there, that is in brief, that's what's going on there. That was in June. Yeah.
And I've encouraged you privately, and I'll encourage you publicly.
Yeah.
You have the Spirit of God. You can shut you can't, but He can shut all that down in a moment. Like I wouldn't put up with it, bro.
Oh, no, I was.
As soon as I walked them old people's house, I would plead the blood against them.
Yeah.
And tell them to get some yonder with a capital Y.
And I was, and I haven't, again, like before I ever got into the cryptid thing, I got tons of recordings of going into places where people have had, so-called demonic entities or being haunted, and I go and preach Jesus and call in Jesus, and these beings leave, right? And I have recordings of this, and I get it full well, but there was like, there's a different energy out in that thing. Like they upped it a bit, which to me I took as a kind of a divine gift, because it was like I realized, okay, so there's another level to what I was even doing, and I need to up what I'm doing. And yeah, because I couldn't believe
demonic gift. Wait a minute. What was the demonic gift?
No, a divine gift. There was no
divine. All right, my bad.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
yeah. No, I don't want to.
They can't give nobody
demonic gifts. No, I'm upset with that. But
well, they gonna give you a demonic ass whooping. You keep running up on them like these. Like I ain't never seen nobody trying to rush up in the bush with these crazy things before. Like
yeah.
And you can see them. I'm gonna find a video, and you can see them. They're looking at you, bro. Like
I know.
They're looking at you like, what is this? What is this guy doing?
Yeah, no, they are. They're looking at me like, how in the hell? That's often how they look at me too. Like, first they're like, how can you see me? We're used to people not. And then they're like, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look mad about it too.
Yeah, they do get real mad. Once you stay there, if you move along, and so then there's certain areas where it's like I throw some things down, like, all right, I'm throwing on something edible. It's okay. And other areas like that one place, it doesn't matter what you do there. There's some like deep, like satanic, like some dark stuff coming out of there. And yeah, I have no intentions of going back to that place. So
yeah, I mean, it sounds like madness. It sounds like crazy Dr. Frankenstein stuff going on in there, and then you did send me that footage, and I remember there was all sorts of stuff going on in it. There's all sorts of stuff going on in all your footage. Put that out there, and but there's one particular one where you catch a dogman or a werewolf, I think it is. It's like looking at you in this bush, and I think you move towards it maybe, and then it just, I mean, it skirts off. It takes off like a shot out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm. I just had my friends out, and they just saw that as well. I came out of the woods, so they saw it in person. Yeah,
So
one.
you could actually see that one, like the one that took off running out of the bush with your eyes, or
I'd have
because
to see the
it looked pretty
video.
thick in there.
I'd have to see
Yeah,
the video because I've seen it countless times. Yeah, I mean, just about every
yeah,
time I go out. Yeah, but I'd have to see the video for sure to verify
yeah.
which one.
That's heavy duty, man. You're dealing with a lot of heavy duty stuff out there, bro.
Yeah,
And a lot of it, like a couple of them, they look like straight up aliens, like green,
there
big
are.
headed aliens.
Yep. Yeah, that's the weird thing. So this is what has, you know, this is why I say, as of now, like when I'm talking about the second, fourth dimension, everything is fluid because I keep seeing more and then seeing it multiple times, and then I go, okay, well, this isn't, you know, something I'm creating. This is something I'm seeing over and over. So now I have to alter my understanding, how I have viewed the world, and whatever else. But because I'm always in search for the truth, and then I alter my positions that way. I don't dig my heels into a position and then go, this is what it is, and then try to you know go from there. But there are a lot of these alien looking beings with the ones that are very dark. And so to go off of that, what I believe is that these Sasquatch beings, a lot of them are kind of neutral, and a lot of these cryptid beings are neutral. I've seen a lot of Dogman beings that are like extremely docile. Like
Yeah,
they're just
absolutely.
they
People don't
don't even.
understand that until they see them, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You actually got to
like
be in there with them. They're not going to do
yeah,
nothing to you.
no, and they're almost like a dog, like a really like there's
Indifference.
nothing mean about them. And then there's these werewolf type beings, which that thing you don't want to. Those things are different, and these I think a lot of these Sasquatch beings are neutral, and then you have these alien type looking beings. For lack of a better term, that's what we call them now, uh, as of now. But I think they take them over and they have them do a lot of dark stuff. I mean, you look at Crowley, and what was the name of that thing that Crowley channeled? That weird looking.
Lamb.
Yeah,
Now,
that
we're
guy.
calling them
Yeah.
alien beings, but that's interesting you say that. You know what Lamb told Crowley, right? Today they call us angels. Tomorrow they'll call us aliens. Those are fallen
Dang,
angels.
dang, yeah,
And I believe you're absolutely spot on, and that's what I found through just having boots on the ground and researching for years. Like
yeah.
there's always these alien looking things out there, and
Hmm.
they look like they attach themselves to them like ticks sometimes. And those
Yeah,
are the ones you got to worry about. They're attaching themselves to these physical ones, and they're trying. They may put you in a jam. You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure,
Because
for sure.
those
Those,
physical beasts are neutral, like you said. I do believe that as
yeah,
well, but
uh-huh.
they don't have any kind of spiritual like shielding against this stuff.
No, they're just, yep, they're just there and they're susceptible to it. And that's why, you can go, I mean, the Native Americans, these people lived in the forest, like they knew what the hell they were talking about. So that's why I believe you have a tribe over here is had a good relationship with these beings, and then a tribe over here is like those things are evil. There's this, and that's why I think it varies. To go
They
there.
never really mix with them though. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people have the misconception that natives were in like actually physically in the forest. They would be outside of the forest, like
Yeah,
Kentucky, the dark and bloody ground. The natives called it that, and they wouldn't step foot into what's called Daniel Boone National Forest today because they got all those creatures in there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
they respected them, and they got that respect. And I think that's what it is, and that goes
yeah,
back to biblical stuff too. We gave the beasts their room; they gave us ours.
yeah. Like Oklahoma, you guys have a lot of native history, right? And
Oh yeah, I mean it's native land. It was the Oklahoma
Wisconsin.
Territory
Yeah,
before, and they sent through treaties and other means send a lot of the native tribes here. So it's all that kind of stuff that you got up there by the nursing home. it's full tilt boogie. That's outside my door right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's where. So Wisconsin has more burial grounds than the entire world combined, and our
what?
yeah, Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin itself has more native burial grounds than the entire world combined, and
Wow, I didn't know that. That's wild.
our a lot of the names here of towns and all this stuff, it's all still native names, and like it's native tribes everywhere. It's one of the states that actually, obviously with everything that happened, it's one of the states that I would say, compared to everything else, does a good job of recognizing its native history, and it is as rich as anywhere in the United States, with that culture. And yeah, so there's obviously there's a link there.
And you know, like you mentioned earlier, also the werewolves. Um, a werewolf's another name for a skinwalker. You know, so that
Yeah.
feeling that you get when they're around, that's pure evil, because that
Oh,
they're evil men, as evil as a man can be, to just the different things they have to do to degrade themselves as a human, as a creature of God, to be able to transform into this. And it's not even a perfect copy of the creature, because God makes things perfect. You know what I mean? That's why
yeah.
you'll have these like deer with like pink glowing eyes in the front of its head and fangs and all this other kind of
Like the
weirdness.
Wendigo things, yeah. There's enough of
Yeah.
that around here. There's a Wendigo fest around here, and people go to it. I'm like, don't go to that damn thing. What are you doing?
Wendigo Fest? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Give some
dude. And
spiritual energy to the Wendigo. That's a smart thing
oh,
to
and they
do.
all wear the shirts, and they all wear all this stuff, and it's all out by a giant forest, and it's like, don't. And it's like people, families and random people in town are going there, and it's like, don't do that, man. That's
It's wild. Well, just like Burning Man. They say, oh, well, it's just a festival where we have fun and we burn an effigy of a man. They were doing that on Easter Island. What are you talking about? Like, it's nothing new.
or even Bohemian Grove, where they burn a child and then celebrate. And, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're really. I think they're doing it at Burning Man too. But at Bohemian Grove, there's no doubt in my mind. They're not sacrificing an effigy of nothing. They're sacrificing
Oh
a
no,
person.
that's a
Yeah.
yeah. There's definitely a body in there. Yeah, them weirdos are they're
Oh, they're full of hell. I mean, they worship Satan straight up.
definitely.
People don't, and this is something we talked about before too, man. Like, people really don't comprehend or really understand the power of the wicked one. Like, he was the anointed cherub that covereth. That covereth. When you go back and look at that word, he was giving a commanding position over creation. He was given a commanding position in heaven, and he has an anointing from God.
Yeah,
Um, like, that anointing don't go away just because he fell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and we got to be careful. We got to lean all the way into the power that the Lord gives us, which is the power of dominion that Adam had through the Holy Spirit. And that's why I like to encourage you and anybody else. There's no reason to be afraid of this. I know you're not afraid of it. You're lost in the sauce. You be running up on the stuff like in a gang or something. Like it's gang
yeah.
warfare, just running up
I
on it.
got, yeah, I gotta calm down sometimes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you gotta calm down just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we've been given dominion over this stuff, and we have to walk in that authority, or it'll run roughshod over us.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I think
what's your next big, like? Do you have any kind of big expedition that you're wanting to do, or like?
well, I yeah, I listen for that. I'm not quite sure yet. I know there's gonna be something to come. There's gonna be I don't want to call it a shift, but there's gonna be something coming with an idea. Again, I got a bunch of videos yet of uh I got another video of like a Dogman running through the trees like I had the other one. Haven't even I don't even know what SD card that's on. Like I got there's a bunch of that stuff out there, so I gotta get organized to release a lot of that and just see what develops. I just need to be present and listen to what the Holy Spirit guides me through and try to work towards educating people on you know what's going on here and and the reason for why I'm doing it, that but I know it's going to develop into uh something else coming up here. I'm just not sure what it is yet.
And maybe you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I know, just like you already know, you know, there's something going on the other side of the veil. It's like everything's being upheaved and shaken up and moved around. You know,
mhm,
and I got my reasons for or what I believe it is, but
mhm,
there's absolutely something going on, and I'm sure you've seen an increase of activity, and um,
yeah.
it's getting to where now they're coming into neighborhoods here because there's swaths of woods that lead out to the country where the river
Yeah,
is, and there's been sightings in town where I'm
no
at.
doubt. Yeah, no doubt. And people who aren't that aware are starting to see things, and yeah, it's definitely noticeably increasing.
Yeah, you said it just right there, bro. Like people that are completely spiritually oblivious to any of this stuff,
Yeah.
they're having very heavy duty spiritual experiences, and that's remarkable.
Uh-huh.
Mention your goal. What is your end game? What is your goal?
Well, I started this on divine inspiration. Like I say, I remember where I was foraging chaga, and it hit me like lightning. Like it just boom hit me, and I was about to climb a tree to with a hatchet to get some chaga down. And if you don't know, chaga is arguably the best wild medicine on earth. It's got more melanin, which we need to regulate the pineal gland, which people of darker skin have naturally, but you need it to regulate the pineal gland. But it does. It is a foundational uh, nutrient for the body. Then it has more superoxide dismutase than anything on Earth, which is an antioxidant that rids a lot of stuff. It has all the metallic vitamins, loaded with B vitamin. It's a superpower. So I make medicines out of that. I was gonna forge that, and it hit me like a strike of lightning, and uh, it was like when I felt, Jesus merging into my body when I was a kid, and it's a divine thing, and I it was this passion in an instant and interest to uncover this cryptid realm. So I've just been following that, and I am not quite sure what the end game is. Uh, I'm following it. I'm listening to it, and I'm staying with it as it develops. Um,
That's good. I mean, it's real good. Better be listening to Holy Spirit though, little brother, because
yeah, no, it is. It is. It definitely
yeah,
is.
you know what I mean. When he tells you to sit down, you better sit down. You're gonna get all right.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
man, I'll tell you what though. Like I said, that's no joke. You know, when I reached out to you, I gave you your props because you know at first I was like, this dude gonna get himself
yeah.
killed. But then I seen you got 10 tons of sand, man. I'll give you that
Yeah,
because like you'll march right up to him.
yeah,
Um, it just but I'll tell you what, like, and your channel's gonna explode. It's only a matter of time because nobody's getting what you're getting. They're just not. And
yeah,
yeah,
man.
I want to see you excel. I want to see you do well. And we need, in my opinion, we need some brothers and sisters in the faith at the top. And
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
always growing in our faith. We always need that encouragement, and that's why the Lord sent His apostles out by twos. You know what I mean? So when one start to falter, they can lift up the other one.
yeah.
And
Hey, that's very relevant. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if do you go out with any? You said you went out with some friends once. Do you go out with people usually, or are you by yourself?
No, I try to go by myself. But I did take some friends out from back in Milwaukee. They came up here, and yeah, I took them out. They saw a bunch of stuff, but and then actually at the end of the day, um, so I went in and did a quick live because we were out from morning till almost dark, and then we are gonna go get something to eat, and it was starting to get dark, whatever. So I went and did a live stream, and they were sitting and waiting, and as I passed a tree, they both saw one run past, and it was like the speed of these things when they run. So it
It's
passed me.
supernatural almost. You
Yeah,
know what I
no,
mean?
it's totally supernatural. And it's like if you ever see them lame ass vampire shows where it's like the vampire, it's like that's what it looks like.
Yeah, like it, or like the
That's the
Flash
movie.
TV show. Like
Yeah,
you see
sort of
just
like
the
that.
color and the blur.
Yeah, and so they both, as I'm walking towards them, I both see their eyes light up, their jaws drop, and they both point. And I see that before they even audibly make a noise, and then they kind of, couldn't talk for a minute. And that's after a whole day of seeing insanity. And they were like, this, they're like, he was waiting. They're like, he's waiting by this tree. He was waiting till you passed, like hunkered by this tree. And then as soon as you passed, he went and he took off. And but yeah, they saw that. And actually, he's got an amazing story of a Jesus story. I'll have to
Give him my number.
yeah,
Tell him to reach out.
you should
We're
have
about to start a new show. So like, I
you
definitely love
should
to talk
have
to
him
him.
on. Yeah, you should have him
Absolutely.
on. Yeah.
And the new show is going to be. It's not necessarily cryptid centric. It's going to be anybody who's had any kind of supernatural or spiritual encounter. So that, yeah, I love to interview.
It's so good, and these are very, high functioning people. These are it's incredible.
The whole field is incredible to me, and the crazy thing about it though, Jake, is all this stuff is going on around everybody. It's not just us. Like if it's there for us, we can just see it.
Yeah,
because we're spiritually in tune or whatever the case is, but it's going on around everybody, and you can try to tell them just to bring their awareness up to help them, and they'll look at you like you're crazy and like, oh, well, that's not taking place. You didn't see that. So we're all telling the same lie. You know what I mean? It's madness.
Yeah. Well, and then they're going to, Walmart, and the cart's full of Pepsi and Ho-Hos, and they're watching David Muir on the World News. So, I mean, that's also where the information,
They got those scales on, and and it's, and I keep thinking you're like 20 years younger than me just because you look like you are, but you were close to the same age. But like it's wild because it's you would think older people would have more discernment, but a lot of them is who it is. Like, oh well, no, that's not taking place. That's not happening. That's not real.
Yeah,
and, that's what's really kind of worries me about it. Because it's not just the younger generation hypnotized by their Xbox. It's our older generation as well.
Yeah, and they didn't have many. The frame of reference really isn't there for what they saw in their life. It's like,
yeah, and they didn't talk about it at all either. You know what I mean? Like it's
too,
traumatic for us, but they're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, that too. And then there's people like, up north here in Wisconsin, there's a lot of people like, this state's very unique. The southern part of the state, it's just wild. Like people think this is just like there's cows everywhere, which there are a lot of cows, but I mean, it's like, dude, the southern part of the state's wild. Then you come up here and it's like, people are just very more so stoic, and you don't want to go on anybody's land. You're going to get shot. You don't want to but people will see things and they won't talk about it. You know what I mean? And they'll have their own fear of ridicule or whatever, and they'll just hold it in, and you won't be able to get it out of them. And
yeah, absolutely. It's wild, but because it goes across like all racial and cultural and religious bounds, it just seems like that generation, they won't have it. They're not going to acknowledge it. Like it's like no.
Yeah, it's like it's as if they just they don't have the part in their personality to articulate what they saw is really what it seems like it comes down to. It's very
maybe. I mean, I don't know about so much that. I just think that they come from that generation where if you saw some crazy stuff and you told enough people, them guys with the butterfly nets in that white van gonna show up
too,
and go take you someplace where you can relax a little bit.
I know that is 100% true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever like an uncle or your parents or whatever if they know what you do, but first time I showed my dad one of my pieces of film, it was very clear. It was looked like a gorilla with same color that you know the foliage was in fall.
Yeah,
And he saw it right away. And I was like, and he was like, huh, he's an old paratrooper, old grizzled old paratrooper. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
he was like, yeah, I see it. I looked at him and he, you know, just kind of reading his, looked up from his paper. And I was like, well, Dad, what do you think that is? He looked at it again, like, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, I bet you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause there was no look of shock or anything. He's just like, huh.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think a lot of them seen this stuff and it's like, maybe, you know, just leave it alone, ignore it, it'll go away type stuff too.
yeah, yeah. Probably, yeah. I think there's definitely a lot of that. Yeah, you're probably right with that for sure. I have this curiosity and this drive also. I don't know, something again that hit me,
You
and I was
have to know.
yeah, and the energy of like figuring it out, like all in an instant. It was something that wasn't even. It was interesting, but when that hit me, it was like everything changed. Like the energy to go through it until whatever the mission is completed. All of that uh was was put in me in an instant, and yeah, other people, it's not going to be their interest, but I gotta know what.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm interested in truth, no matter what kind of package that truth takes.
Yeah,
No matter how uncomfortable it is for us. Like, I think that I think that we are due that because we have the spirit of truth that leads us unto all truths. So, our truths. So, I mean, that's almost like a civic duty if you're a believer. You know what I mean? To seek out these
feels
truths.
like that's what it feels like. Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're being compelled. You know, so
That's
I
the best.
definitely
Yeah.
understand that.
Uh-huh.
And how about we do this? Because I know you're with your lovely girlfriend. Would you want to come back for the? Because we're going to do a multi-part series. Because I mean, it's going to take a lot to
Yeah,
look at your stuff. Would you
yeah,
like to
for
come back
sure.
tomorrow night and we'll record another one? I'll play the one that we did before, and we'll just keep the train rolling.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Outstanding, outstanding, ladies and gentlemen. This is my young friend, Mr. Jacob. And if you haven't already, I'll put his link down in the description box below. Go check out his channel, Forest Spirits and Foraging, and look at all the wild stuff I mean, some of the clearest stuff that you'll ever get. And when we come back, we're going to have stabilized versions of a lot of stuff you're going to see. We're going to learn a little bit more about Mr. Jake. Do you want to take quick questions? Quick question or two?
Sure. Is this whole thing live right now?
Yeah, you didn't know it was live. We were live, absolutely.
No, no, I didn't know it was live right now. I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, we're live. I don't. You
I
probably can
don't
only
see it.
see my part of the screen, huh? I think that if you're on your phone, let me see.
I just can see myself. There's a thing that says chat, but
Yeah, that's the
um.
live chat.
Oh, here it is. Okay, now I see it. Do I
Yep.
gotta click join the chat?
No, you don't have to. I mean, like I
Okay.
always tell the guests never to get in the chat because like you'll when
I
the
actually
camera on, you'll
know.
see them watch. No, you're good, bro.
All right.
You
Okay.
can if you want, but
I know I got it. You're the quarterback. I got it. I gotta just. I gotta just.
it's distracting. You got to think like most people watch after the live show, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you'll be sitting watching, and somebody will ask a question. The person sitting staring down to their left and looking crazy when they're really just reading the
Understandable.
chat. You know, yeah.
Understandable. Yeah.
I got to keep you
Yeah.
fresh. I got to keep you fresh and nice, man. You know what I mean? I got your back.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jules.
Understandable.
Jules says. So does your girlfriend see these things?
Well, I've taken her out. I took her out once. Okay. So when things started to really pick up, I started to be very protective on who I take out, and we pray, ask Jesus for protection, all this stuff before even going out. So the two friends that I took out are very like close to Jesus, very strong, and it's not that she's not, it's just I'm also very protective of women and everything else. So yeah, I took her out, and she heard and saw some things. There's actually a video I have on the YouTube. You can hear her talking in the background of me showing, and she's seeing the ones I'm pointing out. Um, there's one that also snapped a tree, like a big tree, like broke a tree, echoed throughout the whole place. Um, she was there for that. Um, but yeah, I don't. the way it's getting right now and how deep it's been, I'm not really. I'm too protective to take her out constantly, you know. So
And
it's
that's smart, bro. It's very
yeah.
smart,
I already do enough. Like yeah,
And they're attracted to women too, like for some reason,
they're
for
majorly
multiple different
attracted to
reasons.
women.
Yeah,
Yes, they really are. And I
you're
already
going into
feel like
the brush. Like where I was going, man, there was a lot of the young ones and a lot of females, and
yeah,
the males for the most part stayed on the other side of the river in the hunting fields. But like where you're going, you got a mishmash of all sorts of madness taking place there.
yeah. There's just
So I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. I don't want to take her to that. And there's portal spots. There's like weird stuff coming out of there. We don't have names for. Like I don't. So yeah, I'm just a little too protective of that.
I'll tell you what. You rebuke them in the name of the Lord when you see that kind of stuff. That's what I want to
Yeah,
see when you're rolling up on these things, teeth coming out of their mouths. That one thing, it was a werewolf, bro. That couldn't have been nothing else. I don't know
yeah,
if you saw with the naked eye, but it was in that bush. It had
dude.
teeth. It didn't even fit in its mouth, and it was looking right at you. It was mad about it too.
Some of these things look like a lamprey. They have like a mouth and it's just teeth all around. So like they're just
Yes, it's
disgusting
almost
looking.
cartoonishly. Like
Yeah,
they look like they were hand drawn. Somebody drawn like a
yeah,
werewolf there in the
they're
eighth grade.
yeah. There's some real ugly, weird stuff out there. I don't know what to call it, but
The adversary.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. You can't be that ugly and that just that just dark and whatever and
well,
not
I
be.
don't know though, because I mean, look at the descriptions of some of the angels, like those cherub that sat before God's throne. I mean, they look like straight up monsters. The face of a man, face of the likeness of that of a man. Actually, it describes in Ezekiel, and I think about that when I think about these Bigfoot creatures too. When they describe one of the beings that stood before God's throne, one of those cherubim, and Ezekiel was very descriptive. He said it had
Yeah,
the face. It had the face of the likeness of that of a man.
yeah,
It didn't say he looked like a man.
yeah.
So
Ezekiel.
if
Yeah,
you look at these things, they have the face of the likeness of that of a man, and that's just
that's why
that's just fascinating.
I'm telling you, some of these really feel like very light-hearted and good. Um, and I believe they can be taken over. I believe that they're neutral, and then some are just completely dark. But
I think they all can be taken over,
yeah, yeah,
that's like the Bible tells us to give the gospel into all creation, all creatures, and when you can come in on it. Like I got a plan to test that theory down in my area, and it's about as active as yours.
yeah,
I'm gonna fast for 3 days. Uh,
yeah.
Pray, isolate myself, go into fasting and prayer, and then go out there right in the midst of it and open up the Bible right back and preach, and then see what happens.
Oof. You gotta have like cameras in every direction if you're doing that. That'll get real wild.
Maybe, but I think
Yeah,
they'll be happy about it. I think those creatures out there, the physical ones, and that's what I have in my area, and I've seen them in yours. But I think they're
yeah,
plagued by these things. I mean, I would be. I wouldn't want those demons around me all the time. And they're
yeah.
clamored onto them.
Yeah, for sure. In that regard, yeah. Hmm.
They're all over them like ticks and leeches, and some of your stuff too. You can just see them like moving on them, and eyes all over the place, and ghostly figures.
Uh-huh.
They're ridiculous.
Hmm.
But Mr. Michael C says, "What's your most scary or hairiest or scary moment that you've ever had?"
Oh, definitely the one in June. I think it was June 24th. Um, yeah, being surrounded by them and again having them like they do their best, even if they're dark, even if they're whatever, they do their best to hide and I can see them. And then they're even like, why, it's like an inconvenience to them kind of. I kind of, whatever. I keep going, I piss them off at times. Um, but when they make themselves known, when they were coming out from the trees and they were surrounding me, and I'm like, holy cow! And then all of a sudden I see Christ on a tree, hung in the air, and you can see the nail wounds. You can see the nail wounds through the. That was that had uh an adverse effect though because they thought that was going to put me in more fear, but that gave me more strength because I'm like, they see what I'm about, and that's why
That would
they're
have
doing that.
infuriated me, bro. Yeah, because
That
that's straight
then they're like,
demonic. Like
Right. It was like I saw what they were doing, I felt what they were doing, and then the look in their eyes, the scowl, the whole thing. But then, um, yeah. So that that was the night. Then I go home and I'm laying there, TV's off, everything's off, and the moon was very bright, and I'm seeing them climb. I'm seeing the hand come through the window, and then I'm seeing them climb through, and then here they keep going. So if you see that one picture I took, you'll see the one standing on my chest. You'll see the Bigfoot, actual Bigfoot. It's brown fur. You can see his foot, you can see his toes standing on my chest. There's one on the floor, and then there was this giant one walking out into the living room, but it doesn't make sense because the picture is made in a triangle. And when I took it, the camera was facing forward. Like right now I have the camera facing back. Camera's facing forward, boom, should have been in front of me. It wasn't. It was in a triangle. It's impossible. And then I look all crazy and distorted. I'm holding up the phone, laying in my bed, so you can see like the flash go off. It doesn't make any
No,
sense.
is that on your channel?
Yeah,
No, I haven't seen that one. No, I definitely have to check that out. That and see,
I
and
put it
we've
on the
talked about
community
that though.
tab.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out, and I'll leave a link to it. And but bro, that I remember you told me that, and I was getting mad because that's like they're not supposed to be coming up.
Oh,
That
so
don't seem
then,
like Bigfoot to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
well, yeah, and that's what they were at least appearing as, and there was
projecting. Yeah.
this giant one. Like, I mean, this thing was. He had to duck to get through the. So then I turn the lights on, and I'm like, I'm just remain calm, and I'm connecting Jesus. I'm like, rebuking these things. I'm getting, and I turn the lights back off, because I push it too much, man. But
No
so
kidding. I pray
so
the
then,
Lord send down some savage warring angels to stomp their guts out and throw them out the windows of my house. Bro, by the time I
yeah,
got done praying, they'd never come back here again. I don't play with them.
yeah. So
I'll drop on my knees, hit the Lord, and tell them I'll drop a dime on them every time, bro. I'll tell my daddy on them.
yeah, that's that's what you got to do. And
Yep.
but then so I turn the TV on. So I turn the lights back off, turn the TV on, and there's one standing behind my TV. And this was the freakiest thing because, and this is all that night. So all that night to answer his was it Michael's question? This is
Yeah.
all that is the so he's standing behind my TV and my door is open, so the door kind of is close to the TV, and I had a Duke Blue Devils. I love Duke basketball team, and it was like a
Ah,
starter. It's a
Duke.
starter jacket from the 80s. I grew up watching Duke, so I'm a big Duke fan. But it's a starter jacket from the 80s. And I found it on eBay for like 20 bucks. It's worth a lot of
That's
money.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so but it's hanging on the edge and this thing is standing above the TV, and every time I'd go to pick my phone up, it'd go like this and it would turn, and when it would turn, the starter jacket would, you'd see the wind go through it, and I'm like,
Hell no.
and I'm looking at this thing, and then it pops back up. Like the speed that it would move down and then pop back up, it was impossible. And its eyes were just gigantic, and it's just staring at me. It didn't look menacing, didn't look anything. It just looked like curious. And that this is feet away, and now this is at home. This is the only time this has ever happened. But that was, to answer his question, far and away, that was the scariest day ever. Um,
No doubt.
yeah, there's nothing like that. So,
And that's nefarious. You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
totally.
That's nefarious and a wicked thing. They're trying to. It sounds like they're trying to bring you into fear. So I mean,
No
that's
question.
that's why I always check on you and make sure you're not out there being Billy the Kid and run up
Yeah.
on them. But folks, check out the channel. He'll be back with us tomorrow night. We'll post his other interview, and we can make this week the forest spirits and forage, and we can expand upon it because I mean, like your stuff is just it's too wild. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Thank you
I
for,
can say this honestly. In 8 years, bro, you're probably in the top 4 or 5 people that I've seen that are just consistently getting things that you can't deny.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, and that's all just like I'm like it's like 3% of what I have I'm putting out there in videos. I'm just like disorganized, like going through things. I'll take like 40 videos each time I'm out, and I'm like, all right, this one I'll work on for the night, and then I send that. So I mean, I got so much stuff.
Right. We may not be able to get to it all, but we'll give them a good amount of it. And again, myself and Merle has been my co-host Merlin. We've been stabilizing your stuff to put it together, and when we record another one, so people can see what we're talking about as we do it. So, and I'll send those to you. You can repost them. Get from me.
Man, I appreciate you guys a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you,
Yeah.
Miss Jules and Steve Wolf and our other contributors. And we'll see y'all tomorrow night on the Late Show.
Yeah.
God bless
Sounds
y'all.
good.